It is the dark of night, and the hunt is on for wild pigs in Texas, where they have a big pig problem. Why does this matter in Minnesota? Because wild pigs are also out of control, much closer in Canada.
Chasing me in a helicopter, trying to be the fastest white boy.
The entire family comes in? No sense.
Across many agricultural regions of Texas, a quiet but intense battle is unfolding every day. Growing populations of wild hogs continue to invade farms, leaving behind torn-up fields and steadily increasing financial losses. These animals are not only powerful, but also highly adaptable to conventional control methods. In response, many landowners have turned to large-scale trapping systems unlike anything used before, hoping to stop the wave of destruction spreading across the region. Every time a sounder of wild hogs moves through an area, it can leave serious damage behind. They root up farmland, destroy planted fields, and damage irrigation systems that are essential for agricultural production. What were once isolated incidents have now become a recurring problem across many farming counties in Texas.
Looking for pigs.
At night is when you find them.
Some landowners spend thousands of dollars each year simply repairing the damage left behind after hogs pass through their property. The concern extends far beyond crop production. Wild hogs are also considered carriers of dangerous diseases that can threaten the livestock industry. They increase the risk of disease transmission to domestic swine and spread harmful bacteria throughout the environment. In addition to the economic and health risks, wild hogs can also pose a direct threat to people. Mature boars can become extremely aggressive when cornered. And encounters in rural areas, along with vehicle collisions involving wild hogs, are becoming increasingly common. For that reason, controlling wild hog populations is not only about protecting crops, but also about helping keep local communities safe. Or reduce the pressure from the rapidly growing wild hog population. Texas landowners and wildlife managers have tested a wide range of control methods, from individual traps to large-scale management efforts. The goal has always been to reduce hog numbers as quickly and efficiently as possible. After years of field testing, heavy-duty circular steel corral traps have emerged as one of the most effective solutions available today. These systems are built from thick steel panels assembled into a large circular enclosure capable of holding an entire sounder at once. The structure is anchored firmly into the ground with deep steel posts designed to withstand powerful impacts from adult hogs. The gate is built on a large scale and engineered to close completely within seconds once activated. Choosing the right trap location is critical. Areas near water sources, feeding grounds, or well-established travel routes are often given priority. Before the trap is put into operation, managers monitor hog activity using trail cameras to identify the best location and timing. Corn is used as bait and replenished continuously over several days to help the animals become comfortable entering the area. As more hogs begin moving inside the trap, infrared cameras send live images directly to the operator's phone. The most important moment comes when the entire sounder is inside the enclosure. With a single tap on a phone, the steel gate drops instantly and seals off the exit. Thanks to the remote trigger system, operators can wait until the last animals have entered before activating the gate. Significantly increasing capture success rates. Results have shown that this method can capture dozens of wild hogs in a single operation. In many cases, entire sounders with a combined weight exceeding a ton have been successfully contained within the system. The approach is considered a major step forward in reducing the damage caused by wild hogs while providing landowners with a more effective tool to protect their land, crops, and farming operations.
If every wild boar in the United States stood in a single line, their numbers would be enough to form an army stretching for hundreds of kilometers. Today, more than 9 million feral hogs live in the wild, causing billions of dollars in agricultural damage every year. But what worries experts most is not the current population. It is the speed at which it continues to grow. The war against wild boars is no longer just a problem for Texas farmers. Few people realize that this crisis began hundreds of years ago. Pigs were originally brought to North America by Europeans as a food source for explorers. Over time, some escaped into the wild and successfully adapted to their new environment. By the 19th century, Eurasian wild boars were also imported for sport hunting. When the two populations interbred, a new generation emerged. They were stronger, smarter, and far more capable of surviving than anyone had ever expected. When night falls, the real destruction begins. Herds of wild boars leave the forest and move into farmland. They root through the soil in search of food, destroy irrigation systems, and trample crops within just a few hours. Many farmers have gone to bed looking at healthy fields, only to wake up and find them completely devastated. The losses extend far beyond damaged crops, including the time, labor, and money required to restore the land afterward. At first, firearms seem like the simplest solution, but when the population reaches millions, hunting individual animals is no longer enough to make a meaningful impact.
Oh, yeah, look at the cutters on them.
Even with night vision equipment, thermal cameras, and drones, keeping track of constantly moving groups remains extremely difficult. In many cases, the survivors quickly learn to avoid areas where humans are present. What makes the situation even more challenging is how quickly wild boars learn. They remember safe travel routes, identify reliable food sources, and rapidly change their behavior when they detect danger. A herd that escapes a trap can remain cautious for months afterward. This remarkable ability to adapt has gradually made many traditional control methods less effective over time. After repeated failures, experts began changing their approach. Instead of focusing on individual animals, they shifted their attention toward controlling entire groups at once. That was when large-scale corral trapping systems began to appear. Massive steel structures were built along routes frequently used by wild boars. However, the trap itself was only one part of the strategy. The real key to success was understanding herd behavior and convincing the animals to enter willingly. Bait is placed continuously for several days, sometimes even weeks. At first, food is left outside the trap, then gradually moved deeper inside. Throughout this process, the gate remains open to create a sense of safety. Surveillance cameras monitor every movement, and only when most of the herd is inside is the system activated. Within seconds, a quiet area turns in complete chaos. But unlike previous methods, this approach can capture dozens of animals at the same time. Once removed from the site, the wild boars enter a strictly controlled management process. For many communities, this is not only a way to protect crops, but also a method of reducing pressure on ecosystems that have been severely impacted by this invasive species. The battle against wild boars may continue for many years, but it also highlights an important reality. When an animal adapts too successfully to a new environment, controlling becomes far more difficult than people ever imagined. If you found this story interesting, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel for more stories about survival and the ongoing struggles between humans and wildlife around the world.
It's estimated about 6 million feral pigs are roaming America, causing an estimated $1.5 billion in damages. Just this week, a group of senators introduced legislation aimed at eradicating the destructive animals. But no one's quite sure how.
In March 2021, the Texas Hill Country became the center of a strange investigation when wildlife officers discovered 17 feral hogs scattered across a forest covering more than 200 acres. What caught their attention wasn't the number of animals, but how everything had happened so quietly and without the usual signs of human involvement. There were no shell casings, no drag marks, and no clear evidence of a conventional hunt. The animals had only been partially eaten around the neck and shoulders, then left exactly where they had fallen, as if whatever brought them down had no interest in carrying off a trophy. Over the following days, the area was secured and monitored using infrared cameras and feral hog control traps. But instead of solving the mystery, the equipment pointed investigators in a more suspicious direction. Small tracks began appearing around the scene. They didn't belong to large predators such as bears or mountain lions. Instead, they resembled coyote tracks, a species generally considered far less powerful than an adult feral hog. After that discovery, the entire control strategy in the area was adjusted. Old metal traps were replaced with large corral-style systems positioned along the hogs' natural travel routes. Rather than being set individually, the traps were linked together to create pressure zones that funneled the animals through specific control points. Some were upgraded with one-way gates designed so that once a few hogs entered, the rest of the group would naturally follow. At the same time, wildlife officers began testing concentrated bait sites in areas showing heavy rooting activity. Feed was placed in stages, starting from the outer edge and gradually leading deeper inside to guide the hogs in a controlled pattern. Cameras captured multiple instances of hogs approaching the setups, but only a small portion were actually caught. Most quickly learned to avoid locations where previous losses had occurred. In a few rare recordings, cameras also captured signs of coyotes moving along the edges of the trapping areas. They didn't directly interact with the traps, but often appeared shortly after the hogs had passed through, focusing on young individuals that had become separated from the group. The attacks happened extremely fast, often lasting only a few seconds, just enough time to isolate the weakest animal before disappearing back into the woods. What stood out was that the coyotes never lingered at the scene. After each encounter, they immediately retreated, following the same trails used by the hogs as though they had already predicted the herd's next move. Some footage even showed them standing motionless at a distance, waiting until the hogs had cleared the trapping zone before making their move, revealing a clear level of caution and calculated behavior. But what made the entire trapping system even more challenging wasn't the predators. It was the memory of the feral hogs themselves.
Dogs during the next 24 hours. Heavy rains overnight.
After being captured or narrowly escaping a trap, they changed their travel routes, shifted their movement to early morning or late night hours. And in some cases completely avoided areas carrying any human scent. Larger groups sometimes split into smaller units, moving independently to reduce the risk of being trapped all at once. As a result, even as the number of traps increased, success rates remained inconsistent. Some operations captured dozens of hogs at a time, only to see new groups move in from surrounding areas shortly afterward. The trapping system began to resemble an ongoing race in which humans stayed fixed in place while the hogs constantly adapted their strategy. Throughout the entire process, what stood out most was not a decisive battle, but a two-way cycle of adaptation. The traps became more sophisticated, while the feral hogs became increasingly unpredictable. And through all of those changes, nature continued to intervene in its own way, following no one's plan. If you've made it this far, don't forget to leave a like to support the video, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next chapter of this story, where nature always seems to change faster than we expect.
What you just saw is the aftermath at a Louisiana farm after just a few days of wild hog invasion. The feral hog problem here is getting worse and is nearly impossible to control. They've spread across all 64 parishes of the state, disrupting the ecological balance and causing alarming environmental damage. Wildlife conservation agencies confirm that the destruction of coastal wetlands caused by feral hogs is far more severe than the damage in inland areas. Their numbers are truly staggering, and if not managed promptly, the consequences will only get worse. For Danielle and Bradley, life here was once peaceful and quiet, a dream many Americans aspire to. Their beautiful home sits in the heart of nature, and their livelihood depends largely on farming. However, that tranquility is constantly shattered by invasive wild hogs. In just a few short days, a hungry herd can destroy an entire cornfield, leaving them with nothing.
Watch out!
Every harvest season could turn into a disaster if the hogs aren't controlled in time. After years of struggle, they invested in advanced trapping systems. These systems are so effective they're downright astonishing. According to the LSU Agricultural Center, invasive feral hogs cause hundreds of millions of dollars in agricultural losses each year. Large farm owners take a heavy hit, and Danielle and Bradley are among the most affected. Mobile cell-trigger gate traps combined with advanced mesh enclosures can capture an entire herd of dozens of hogs in a single baiting. When operated correctly, the scene is truly impressive. A massive group of hogs contained safely with not a single escape. Setting up a successful baiting location is no simple task and often takes several days, sometimes even a week. Trappers must patiently endure heavy rain, rising tides, and occasionally completely flooded terrain. Fortunately, the traps usually trigger just in time, right before the tide comes in. When harvest time arrives, the sight leaves anyone watching in awe. Huge hogs trapped in a flooded area, unable to escape. However, things don't always go smoothly. Sudden heavy rain or flooding can damage electronics, cameras, or remote controllers. A neighboring farmer once had water breach their solar system, completely disabling all trap cameras. Still, the work never stops. They know that if they let up, wild hogs can quickly spread everywhere, destroying everything in sight. Giving up means throwing away all the effort and progress they've made. Even with high-tech tools, sometimes a simple manual drop gate trap can't be replaced. This low-cost, straightforward setup relies on classic triggering, usually just a heavy rope. When a large herd enters the feeding area, they hit the mechanism, and the metal gate slams shut instantly. This method may seem old-fashioned, but it's extremely effective at capturing large numbers at once. It's a simple yet reliable solution that many experienced trappers still prefer. The best part is that nothing goes to waste. Once captured, invasive hogs are processed into high-quality frozen meat, from flavorful smoked sausages to nutritious food for the whole family. It's a way to turn a dangerous pest into a practical, abundant, and completely natural resource. Every meal becomes proof of effectively managing an invasive species without waste. Now, we want to hear from you. The feral hog crisis is a major challenge across many states, and there's always more to learn. Have you ever dealt with wild hogs on your land? Which trap designs or management strategies work best in your area? Leave a comment below to share and discuss your experiences.
Previous operations had delivered significant results, but they were unable to completely eliminate feral hogs from the area. Across the fields surrounding the Texas ranch, fresh tracks continued to appear night after night. Forest trails were torn apart, and patches of ground had been dug up as if a small storm had swept through. It was clear evidence of one reality. Groups of feral hogs were still active out there. And this time, our mission was not only to reduce their numbers, but also to deal with animals that had become increasingly wary after repeated encounters with traps. The first trap was placed at the edge of the woods, where dense vegetation provided natural cover before the hogs moved into open areas. This was one of the travel routes that our cameras had recorded multiple times before. We completed the setup early in the morning and left quickly, trying to leave as little trace as possible. That night, the trap signal was triggered. As soon as the sun rose the following morning, We returned and could already hear noises echoing from the distance. Inside the steel trap, feral hogs were packed tightly together in the confined space. They moved constantly, crashing into the fencing and creating a chaotic racket. After days of monitoring, seeing the first trap produce results gave the entire team a boost of motivation. We quickly processed the site, removed the captured animals, and prepared for the next deployment location. The second location was completely different. It was an open clearing in the middle of the ranch, with almost no cover or hiding places. To be honest, I did not expect much from this spot, but sometimes simplicity creates the biggest surprises. Perhaps because they did not feel threatened, the hogs entered the area with little hesitation. When we returned the next morning, the sight before us genuinely caught me off guard. The trap contained far more feral hogs than expected, and most of them were large, fully grown adults. The individuals responsible for some of the most severe damage to farmland. After completing the work, we added fresh bait and reactivated the entire system. Tracks around the area indicated that many more hogs were still moving nearby. However, the next target would prove even more remarkable. The third trap was placed along a forest trail where the ground had been worn into a clearly defined path by constant hog activity. Everything was carefully prepared early that morning. No one expected that by the end of the day, the trap would already be completely full. When we returned, a chaotic scene awaited us. The trapped hogs continuously pushed against the fencing, circled around, and crowded into one another. Signs at the site suggested that nearly the entire group had traveled along this route and entered the trap area at the same time. The result proved that choosing the right travel corridor can sometimes be more important than any piece of equipment. As I moved to the final location, I found myself in a dense pine forest with secluded terrain and very little sign of human activity. The trap was left overnight. By the following morning, despite heavy rain that had been falling since before dawn, we decided to return and check it. Even from a distance, strong vibrations from the fencing could be seen through the curtain of wet grass. As we got closer, an entire group of feral hogs came into view inside the trap, clustered into smaller groups and constantly trying to escape after being confined for hours. The rain made the work more difficult, but it also marked the end of the entire operation. Every trap and every location had produced clear results, helping ease the pressure on the surrounding farms. Yet when I looked down at the damp ground still covered with fresh tracks, I understood that this was not the end. Out there, deep within the vast forests, other groups of feral hogs were still on the move. And before long, we would be back once again.
Folks, that there's an attitude about pigs that they're disgusting, they're just dirty creatures, and they kind of just want them dead. And I've talked to people that go helicopter hunting, and I go, well, what do you do with all the pigs? And they're like, you leave them there. And I'm like, what? Yeah. I'm like, that doesn't seem...
In the United States, wild boars are among the most dangerous invasive species. They are intelligent, highly adaptable, and reproduce rapidly. Domestic pigs brought by Spanish explorers in the 16th century escaped into the wild and evolved into feral populations, spreading across the southern states, destroying crops, tearing up soil, and severely disrupting ecosystems. Over centuries, they have become a powerful wild animal, now appearing even near residential areas, posing both economic and environmental threats. In the early 20th century, European wild boars were imported into the United States for hunting purposes. After escaping captivity, they interbred with feral domestic pigs, creating an extremely dangerous hybrid. Faster, more aggressive, more resilient, and more destructive than their ancestors. Their reproductive capacity is alarming. A single sow can produce 2 litters per year, with up to 12 piglets per litter, allowing the population to double within months if left uncontrolled. This makes traditional control methods largely ineffective, as new populations are constantly being created before humans can respond. The USDA estimates that there are currently around 6.9 million wild boars in the United States, with Texas alone accounting for about 2.6 million, spread across 253 out of 254 counties. They can run at 30 miles per hour, jump 40-inch fences, and have tusks over 6 inches long with skin thicker than 1 inch, making light weapons ineffective. The damage is very real, from military airfields forcing pilots to abort takeoffs, to golf courses, residential areas, and underground fiber optic cables worth millions being destroyed. One farmer lost 24 acres of corn in a single night, around $40,000. Texas alone suffers over $500 million in annual losses, and nationwide damage reaches around $3 billion, not including livestock, bird eggs, and widespread ecological disruption. Traditional efforts such as trapping, hunting, or simply pushing pigs into neighboring counties have largely failed. When they return, they are smarter, more cautious, and better at avoiding any signs of previous control groups. Each reproductive cycle increases the population further, and every removed group is quickly replaced by new herds migrating from nearby regions. Helicopter culling and ground teams only provide temporary relief, while the population continues to expand. farmers have begun adopting a different strategy. Intelligent corral traps combined with fermented corn to encourage the boars to enter confidently. Once the animals feed, relax, and return repeatedly over several nights, the trap is triggered when the entire group is inside. No individuals survive, preventing the herd from learning how to avoid it in the future. This technique exploits their behavior and intelligence, taking advantage of how they observe their environment and pass learned behavior to the next generation. Today, farming communities in Texas combine resources, using smart trapping systems and helicopter surveillance, while also protecting allied wolf populations, natural predators in the ecosystem. These wolves target piglets, directly reducing the population's future growth. In Atascosa County, this strategy has reduced corn damage from 600 acres per year to nearly zero, proving the effectiveness of combining ecological balance with technology. Traditional methods only provide temporary impact, catch a few individuals, and the remaining herd teaches the young to avoid traps. The population disperses and establishes new groups in previously cleared areas. Helicopter-based removal only shifts the problem elsewhere. In contrast, the allied wolves affect the next generation directly, targeting the reproductive stage where future populations are determined, enabling more natural and effective control than any human-led campaign. Camera systems and research data show that these wolves learn to hunt piglets in coordinated groups, using precise timing and teamwork to exploit moments when mother sows are exhausted from night foraging. This behavior is learned and passed down through generations, creating a natural pressure that human programs have not been able to replicate. Data from Texas and Georgia shows significant population declines in areas with continuous wolf activity, without the need for extensive trapping or artificial hunting. The story of wild boars in Texas demonstrates that nature has powerful self-regulating mechanisms, which humans sometimes unintentionally disrupt. If you found this content useful, please leave a comment with your thoughts and share it with others interested in agriculture and wildlife. This time, we return to Texas for a large-scale feral hog control operation on Ethan's ranch. Over the past few weeks, fresh signs have been appearing more frequently than ever before. Trails have been torn up, patches of soft ground were covered with overlapping tracks, and surveillance cameras continuously captured images of feral hogs showing up at all hours of the day. Most concerning of all, these were no longer solitary animals wandering in search of food. Large groups were moving together, more organized, more alert, and seemingly far more experienced from their previous encounters with humans. Ethan called us when the damage began escalating beyond control. With each passing day, more ground was being rooted up, more fences were being destroyed, and more cultivated areas were being devastated. Faced with the situation, the team quickly developed a plan to deploy an extensive trap network across the ranch. This time, the goal was not simply to catch a few animals, but to maximize every opportunity to control entire groups of hogs operating in the area before they could change their patterns. Early the next morning, the trap locations were finalized. Every site had been selected based on camera footage, tracks, and the hogs' established travel routes. After hours of continuous work under the Texas sun, the entire system was finally ready. We did not have to wait long before the first signal appeared later that afternoon. One of the traps had been triggered. When the team arrived at the site, a group of feral hogs was already trapped inside after entering in search of food. It was the first clear sign that the plan was beginning to pay off. The excitement barely had time to settle before another alert appeared on the monitoring screens just a few hours later. The second trap had also been successfully triggered. This time, even more hogs were inside. It was clear evidence that activity levels in the area were extremely high. 2 successful activations in a single afternoon were an encouraging start, but what happened next truly surprised the entire team. As darkness spread across the fields, the camera system began sending back even more activity. On the screens, groups of feral hogs emerged from the dark woods, followed familiar trails, and moved steadily toward the trap sites. The third trap was triggered first that night. A large sounder had ventured deep inside before the gate suddenly slammed shut behind them. The entire sequence lasted only seconds, yet the results exceeded all expectations. As the first rays of sunlight appeared on the horizon, we began our rounds to inspect the sites. Even from a distance, the first trap showed promising results, with constant movement still visible inside.
Easy now.
The hogs that had been confined throughout the night were extremely active. The team quickly carried out the control procedures exactly as planned. Once the first location was completed, everyone immediately moved on to the next site without wasting a single minute.
Yeah, well, since it's maybe he's. Yeah. Yeah. Come on now. Yep, yep. Yep, 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 yep. Yep, let's go, yep. Are you working there?
The second trap delivered similar results. Under the morning light, the size of the group inside became even more apparent. Despite having been held for many hours, the animals remained remarkably alert. However, the team's experience and seamless coordination ensured that everything was handled quickly safely and efficiently. The final location proved even
There you
more
go.
impressive,
There you go. Get on that
becoming
bus.
one of the most
Yep,
successful
yep, yep, yep.
captures
Keep on
of the
going.
entire
There you go. There you
operation.
go. There. You about got it though. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Getting close on my battery. Yep. 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 Come on. And we're gonna go to the sail.
Looking back on the operation
Boy, he
as
got
a
big
whole,
old gals. Look at
we
this gals
truly
over-
began to appreciate the scale
Yes,
of what
sirree,
had taken
Bobcat.
place. A trap system operating
now.
around the clock,
Yep,
a
yep,
series
yep.
of activations occurring one
Yep, yep.
after another, and a busy morning spent completing the mission. It was more than just a successful operation. It demonstrated that when the right strategy is combined with thorough preparation, even the largest and most cautious groups of feral hogs can be controlled effectively.
Coming to this trapping site throughout the whole process by dogs quite a bit or being shot at quite a bit. That one of the boars inside the trap actually had its ears. The boar's been pretty consistent with coming to the trap. Something may have happened to them, but they've also brought in 2 bigger boars in first. And as you can see in the back, when pigs come back, now we were lucky enough to get 3. What we're left with the one of them and trying to manage the 100% control of the population.
This time, we returned to the dense Texas woodlands, where the rugged terrain made it nearly impossible to move large traps into position. The solution was to switch to smaller, more flexible traps that were easier to conceal, even though they could only hold a few wild hogs at a time. But the real challenge was not just the size of the traps, it was how the hogs reacted to them. Would these smaller traps be enough to control this aggressive population, or would the animals quickly become wary and disappear before we had a chance to act? The first trap was placed deep in the forest after hours of travel by specialized vehicle. As we approached, we found 2 wild hogs that had been held overnight, pacing back and forth inside a confined space. The numbers were not impressive, but for a small trapping system like this, it was exactly the result we were hoping for. Without hesitation, we quickly retrieved the 2 hogs, loaded them onto the vehicle, and laid fresh bait so the trap would be ready for its next activation. The next location was a wide open clearing, an ideal place to deploy multiple traps at once. This time, we positioned 3 traps along routes frequently used by wild hogs. The outcome was not exactly what we expected. Only 1 trap had been triggered. However, inside it, a pair of wild hogs had been held overnight. The other 2 traps were empty, but placing multiple traps increased our chances of success, and we still achieved our objective. The 3rd trap had been set beneath a large tree, where there were clear signs that hogs often stopped before moving on. When we checked it, the trap had been triggered. They were not the mature animals we had hoped for, but they were still an important part of the overall control effort. We collected them, spread fresh bait, and reset the trap without wasting any time. A dense trap network created opportunities for unexpected success at virtually any location. And just as expected, the fourth trap had been triggered overnight. When we arrived the following morning, there was only a single wild hog inside. But its size immediately caught everyone's attention. Every movement shook the trap enclosure, revealing extraordinary strength and determination. It was only one animal, yet it was worth far more than many of the smaller captures we had made before. This was the biggest target in the area, and it led us to an entirely new design, a circular trap enclosure. Unlike traditional square cages, the circular structure eliminates obvious corners, making the trap appear more natural and less suspicious to wild hogs as they enter. Its effectiveness was proven almost immediately. When we checked it, the circular enclosure had captured a pair of wild hogs that had moved continuously around the curved structure, completely unaware before stepping inside. On the way back, the trap beneath the large tree was unexpectedly triggered again in just 2 hours, breaking all previous speed records. This area was clearly a hotspot, where wild hogs moved through constantly without showing much caution. The long day came to an end once every trap had been checked. This time, there were no massive captures, but the smaller trap system proved its value in a different way. It was reliable, precise, and consistent. From pairs of smaller hogs to powerful mature animals, every trap delivered its own result. Looking back at the tracks still marked across the ground, we knew there were more hogs out there that had yet to appear. With the trap network already in place, it was only a matter of time before they wandered into the next set of traps. Today, we did more than control wild hogs. We learned how to maximize the effectiveness of every small trap by taking advantage of the terrain and the animal's natural behavior. Every movement and every result brought us one step closer to controlling the entire area, and the operation was far from over. Patience, precision, and careful strategy had achieved results that large traps simply could not deliver in this rugged landscape. And with traps deployed throughout the region, it was only a matter of time before the biggest and most cunning animals were finally captured, bringing victory in the ongoing battle to control Texas's wild hog population.